Hello and welcome to Switzer TV. I'm Peter Switzer. I'm talking to the Executive Chairman of a publicly listed company called Cashwerkz. His name is John Nantes. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thanks for having me.
Cashwerkz. A lot of people would have maybe heard the name, not quite sure what you do, so explain it.
Sure. Cashwerkz has come up with an idea where we bring the banks closer together with investors who have cash, money looking for cash solutions and term deposit solutions. And what we thought about was a way to fast track the process. So on our platform, we have 49 banks looking for money, looking for cash and TDs from customers. And on the other side, we have a customer base made up of mums and dads, self-managed super funds, the advisory network, and basically anyone with cash looking to park it, looking for a really good outcome in terms of rate, in the most transparent and efficient way.
So in a sense, you're specialising in term deposits and other deposits, or just exclusively term deposits?
Now, at the moment, we have at call as well as term deposits, but we will continue to advance our product listing to go up the defensive yield curve over time. But at the moment, cash and term deposits are what are on our platform.
Yeah, and so I guess the business model is to attract all those people out there who are really frustrated that term deposits at maybe their bank is so low, and they'd like to at least see the full gamut of what's out there.
Look, absolutely. We actually do the KYC AML for the banks as well. So once you
hang on. The KYC
/AML.
Okay, and what is that?
So it's the know your client. It's the thing you do when you walk into a bank and have to get identified.
Okay.
And you get asked for your driver's license, passport and so forth.
Yeah.
So we automate that, which means through our platform, once you've done that once, you can now look to invest your money across, at the moment we have 49 banks. So having done that once, you can now, as you say, shop around and look for a really good outcome in terms of rate and the type of bank you want and execute that money within 3 clicks.
Okay. So how long have you been listed for?
We merged 2 years ago with a company called Trustees Australia. Cashwerkz was built off market over a period of about 3 to 4 years, where we put a lot of capital into building out the technology, and then we merged with a company called Trustees Australia that had been listed for 31 years, and we combined the two. So we took our technology and their history and ability to manage people's money and built what we have now.
Okay, so how long have you been on the market and how long have you been marketing to the market?
We did a capital raise in October, just passed.
Yeah.
So I would say we've just had our real full first year.
Yeah.
So we raised capital to really extend our growth. We recruited some marketing people and salespeople to start telling our story and get out there and find more customers and solve more of the cash TD sort of problems for people.
And it seems to me this couldn't come at a better time, because like even recently the Westpac consumer sentiment number came up with a revelation that the question they often ask is, where's the wisest place to put your money?
Yep.
And of course, the bank is always the best place, but there has been I think a 24-year high in the answer, we don't know.
Yeah.
And so I guess a business like yours is at least going to give them all the range of possible term deposits out there, or at least an enormous number.
Correct. In our environment, we've created a very competitive marketplace where you can shop around and make a good decision based on a lot of choice. And you can do that, like I said, in 3 clicks, meaning you're very empowered. As a consumer, as someone with money looking to get your best outcome, you're actually really well placed in any yield environment. The other trick to us is that financial advisors can use our technology within their infrastructure. Now, as you know, with the Royal Commission, advisors need to act in the client's best interest. So our platform plays into that perfectly, where with your client's money in the cash and that defensive space, you actually can make a really healthy choice and try and get them a really good rate outcome and know that you've done the right thing by them. And that technology will talk to their current technology.
Okay, this might be a hard question, but too bad, I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the range of interest rates for term deposits now? Because a lot of people would know, some people say, I'm at 1.5, but what is the best one out there nowadays?
Yeah, look, it is hard to get above a sort of a 2% sort of TD rate at the moment. You're absolutely right. We do have currently rates on our platform that go right near that. The other thing on our platform that happens from time to time is banks approach us because there's a shortage of funding for banks, and that's going to continue to be a challenge for them, particularly with APRA. So they approach us all the time and say, look, we actually do need to get more capital. Can you increase the rate for a period of time to attract that capital to that bank. So in using our platform, if you're on it, you do get access to these special rates from time to time. But you're absolutely right. Rates have come down. They're at an all-time low. But that's where that extra little bit can make a big difference. And the ability to do that in one place and execute it is important. And the last thing I'll say on that is we don't touch the money. So your money moves from your account to your account. Cashwerkz never steps in the middle and touches the money or holds it in trust. We think that's incredibly important for users of our technology.
Okay, a couple of questions then. So how easy is it for someone who's, for example, got their money with Westpac and they find that the best rate is with Suncorp or with Bendigo Bank? How easy is it to transfer?
On our platform, once they've been identified, 3 clicks. You shop the market, you work out what you're looking for, what bank, what rate, what term, and what you're comfortable with. And within 3 clicks, you can actually move the money from where it was to where it is.
And is that because you've got your own special identification on the website?
That's absolutely correct. So the banks accept our way of doing that, which is a very efficient e-verification way. So for the banks to come onto our platform, they have to accept that we're going to do that for them. It's a great outcome for the banks because we're giving them customers for free who are already identified.
Okay. The fact that a customer already has an account with one bank, does that mean that by definition they're identified, therefore it's an easy transfer, or do they have to go through the process of being identified by you?
We would still need to identify them, and one of the most important reasons is because once we've done that once, we can then use that for all the other banks. So over time, as they maybe choose a different bank, we've already got a process in place.
So it's like joining the Cashwerkz Club, but once you're there, you have a full range of deposits you can select from. How much time does it take to provide the information to become a member?
Look, it typically takes minutes. It is a very fast process. The only time that we're challenged is if what you're saying and your identification don't match. An example of that would be as simple as you've moved house, your driver's license is saying one thing and you're saying something different. That's when we need to manually override it. But again, once you're identified, the rest of the process is very quick.
Now I always try to think to myself, the people watching this are thinking, okay, sounds good. What does it cost me?
That's a great question. So to the user, to the investor, it's free.
That's the best price of all, you know.
It's not a bad price, is it? It's a hard price to argue. The reason is our model is the banks actually pay us. So we get a little bit of commission for the placement of the funds that's baked into the rate. So that's where our revenue stream comes from. But to the user, it's absolutely free. So even to a financial advisor or a dealer group, a council, you name a fund manager, any entity that wants to use us, our technology stack is completely free for them. And one of the things we're thinking about more and more is how do we embed our technology into their technology? So rather than having to come to us to use our technology, how do we put it into their current infrastructure that allows them to go even faster again? But absolutely, our platform is a free to use platform, free on wanting to invest money.
Now, you've been going for how long now?
Briefly, like 1 year. I would say now we've had a good full first year and we're away.
Is the plan in the future to eventually add other sorts of products that are like bank term deposits but are higher up the risk curve? Because those sorts of people exist. A lot of term deposit people want more than 2, so therefore they're looking at, well, for example, I have a dividend growth fund. A lot of people are looking at that because we pay 5 or 6%. Now, before franking. So, do you think eventually you'll have a bigger suite of products?
Yeah, absolutely. We are on track to bring that out over the next sort of 12 months, 18 months. And the reason is when we merge companies, Trustees Australia had a company called RIM Securities, which are a licensed fixed interest specialist. So they're part of our ecosystem, and they do play in that bond, NCD, or other sort of up-the-line, high yield products.
Not as secure as term deposit space.
One of the things we'll make sure we do, though, is to the investor to be really clear about the difference. Because one is, as you know, capital guaranteed by the bank up to 250,000.
Exactly right.
The other is a higher yield, and you correctly said higher risk. So we need to make sure people do understand that difference, and we will.
But I think I could see over time that some people are saying, right, I've got 100,000 I want to put into term deposits. The rates are really low. I might put 70 in at the really safe one, and maybe 3 lots of 10 in 3 different ones that paying maybe 3.5 or 4, slightly more risky, but it just increases my yield to 3 point something, and that's good. I can imagine a lot of people thinking that down the track.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus then wanting that to be reported in one report, consolidated, concise. Absolutely. Look, the other thing we're seeing at the moment as well is people with larger parcels are saying, well, I know the government guarantees only 250,000.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is take my larger parcel and split it up and get that government guarantee across different banks to protect the total sum of their money. Now, to do that without a platform, without our technology, to do that manually is impossible. You know, you got to shop around, walk around. It's hard. Whereas our ways, you can do it in one place at one time and manage it accordingly.
And I guess this is a question I don't know the answer to, and I often don't like asking questions I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
But do you think your business is going to do better with higher interest rates or with lower interest rates?
I actually think that's a great question. And when we launched this, we did wonder, have we just launched this at the worst time when rates are heading south and it's a really tough environment? And what we've learnt is, and what we believed would be the case, it's a 2 trillion size market in Australia, cash and TDs. It's a very large market. So even though we've seen rates drop, even though we've seen sort of a bond yield, problematic global issue, what's happened is people still need cash and TDs. They're still an important part of a portfolio.
Yeah.
People still need defensive assets. What we've learnt is, because of what we're providing, every cent counts. You need something like us in these times, even more so.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of visibility we're getting.
Okay.
As yields go up, of course, that's great as well.
Yeah.
And people can put their assets in safer sort of assets to get a yield. But at the moment, it is tough. And so you want to be able to do that in the most economical way. And that's what we're seeing.
Okay, is there any other question I should have asked you that would make my viewers more informed about your business?
I think it's probably worth just talking about our first year highlights and what we learned, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So really briefly, in our first one year at this, we saw about $2.3 billion flow through our platform.
That's good.
With a lot of movement. And at the end of our first year, we still have about $1 billion sitting there waiting to mature. So the technology really took off and it really proved our concept around how we can add value in the Australian landscape.
Yeah.
And what that trickled through to was about a 38% increase in revenue and 49 banks and a lot more customers. And we ended up building up a significant pipeline. So going into the next year, we're quite excited about that pipeline and our ability to convert it onto the platform because, again, cash and TDs are just a necessary part of investing, parking money and trying to maximise that yield as best you can, even for a short period.
Yeah.
So we're pretty excited about the next year as well.
Fantastic. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's John Nantes, the Executive Chairman of Cashwerkz.